favorite character on that whole thing was Laszlo Cravensworth. He's the best. It's so fucking funny.
His voice sounded really familiar, and he does. Have you watched? God, what's that show? It's done by Matt Groening on Netflix. It's Disenchantment. Anyway, he was a voice in Disenchantment. That's where I recognized his voice from.
That's not the first season of that.
For those of you that don't know, we're talking about the American version of What We Do in the Shadows.
Hey, we're not giving him a free plug, all right?
All right, we're watching a show about vampires that's on Hulu, and it's not called What We. It's not called What We Do in the Shadows, and it's the opposite. Well, no, we won't say it's What We Do in the Shadows. It's the opposite of
What We Do in the Sunlight.
Yeah, exactly. What we don't do in the sunlight.
Well, I don't want to give any. I want to talk about it more, but I don't want to give any spoilers away. So, because Dave hit the record button prematurely.
They're four. I just watched. I'm halfway through the first season. There's 4 seasons.
Yeah,
anyone that's gonna get spoiled, it's gonna be me.
Yeah, it's just a really good show.
But you know what else is a good show?
This one.
This one.
And with that,
Jake, what's our show called?
The show's called the Tire Preference Podcast, which is the show that we have now, which is interesting because the 3 guys, I'm Jake, so me, Tyler, and Dave. Tyler, Dave, and I should say. Dave,
it's
Tyler,
late,
and I
everyone.
Yeah.
I've had a really draining day. So I'm kind of coming at this not half cocked. That's the wrong thing. What am I trying to say here? All 4 tires are flat, and my transmission's on sync. So
speaking of flats, I ran over a nail. I had to go get my tire plugged.
On your bicycle?
No, on my truck. I had to take tire off and run it up and get it plugged.
That's annoying.
Oh.
Side note.
That's really shitty, actually.
Speaking of tire stuff, don't use slime, because if you use slime on your tires, it voids your warranty. So
I didn't plan on using any of that crap anyway.
Most tire shops will replace or fix flats in your tires or punctures for free.
Yep, most of them will. This one didn't. It was $10.
Well, that's good old Florida capitalist kindness.
Well, capitalize on the snowbirds. I should have told them I was a local.
Oh, I'm a local. No, son, you're not a local.
Yeah,
not with that complexion, you aren't.
Not with that complexion. You fucking ginge.
Yeah.
Haven't been here long enough. I still take my shirt off. It looks like I got a t-shirt on still.
Yeah, like a Hank Hill kind of.
Son, you rolled up with the rock station on. I know you're a local if you're listening to conservative talk radio.
Or country.
Yeah.
It all kind of glistens off the fluorescent lights in your camper, so.
Yeah, that's a nice little. You should see my feet. It looks like I'm wearing ankle socks at all times.
They're the work boots of Florida.
Yeah.
Although I've been wearing sandals every day, so those are starting to tan up. Anywho,
I'm not saying that none of us.
So
there's
we've
not a no sympathy clause. Yeah, there's not a no sympathy clause for when Dave has a hard day at work. He just does not get the most sympathy.
It's hard
because
to
he
feel
has to wear sandals 95% of the time.
Do you guys want to talk about Formula One?
Yeah,
let's do that.
Okay, so we don't have a race review to talk about because
we're less than 100 days till the next race. You guys want to do predictions?
No, we don't do that till the week before. You should know that. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to kind of talk about our favorite moments from the past year. Having done a full year now of not waking up Sunday. Actually, it's a lie because this is the first time I've had Sundays off. So normally, I wake up, go to work, then come home, watch replay while I drink a copious amounts of alcohol. But I can't do that now because I have to take notes and stuff so I can actually coherently talk about the race. So it's been a fun year for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Unless you were a Ferrari driver.
Man.
Yep.
It was such a joyous beginning of the season too. It's like everything was working. We were winning races and
kaput. But that's classic Ferrari.
Yeah.
Man,
I did see.
You told me too. Beware.
It's a conspiracy theory, but roll with me on this one for a second. It was a video. I don't know if I sent it to you guys earlier, but they were talking about how everything sort of changed when like a 7-time world championship got unseated by a 24-year-old who won back-to-back championships, and then a Ferrari driver won it after that. So a 24-year-old named Max Verstappen unseated a 7-time world champion named Lewis Hamilton and has won it 2 years in a row. So this guy was like, ergo, next year, Charles Leclerc wins the championship.
That'd be pretty cool, but I mean, what ancient deity are they going to, Balonacles, the fucking Italian god of winning shit?
I think it's going to be maybe Chef Boyardee, probably.
Hey, he was a real guy.
He was a real guy.
It was real.
Hey,
he wasn't a chef either. He was a serial killer.
All right, well, before we get too deep into it, real quick, I just want to say, I'm Jake. That's Tyler. That's Dave.
Bye, Dave.
He say his name. There you
go. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, you know what we're talking about. For those of you that are listening on Spotify and all the other platforms, Dave just leaned away out of the camera, and Jake is still just a logo.
Well, yeah, you can actually watch it on Spotify, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. You can watch it on Spotify and on YouTube.
Stop it.
Sorry, dude. My dog's.
No, please continue listening. Don't listen to Dave. He's talking to his dogs.
The cone. So yeah, we were just talking about our favorite stuff about the thing, the race, the. I'm sorry. So I've already said this. I'm a little fried. I'm a little fried from today. It was like a really intense day at work, and I had a 20-ounce Red Bull, and I was ready to go. I ate food. But man, welcome to the podcast. Here's me at like 4 out of 10.
That's all right. We'll pick it up as we go.
What are you boys drinking on tonight?
Well, I got nothing special. I went a couple of Coors tall cans.
Nice.
I couldn't be bothered to stop anywhere, so I have one pumpkin beer that I'm going to have in a little bit. Other than that, it's Dr. Pepper.
Boneyard Incredible Pulp. Boneyard Brewing in Bend, Oregon.
Good stuff.
It's an extra pale ale with a Pilsner malt backbone and a healthy dose of blood orange.
I will say they did release Bourbon County Stout. Goose Island did. If you know, you know. That shit is delicious.
Any of you who have ever had a layover in a Midwestern airport know that it is the only microbrew that they carry in any airport out there.
That's a pretty big microbrew.
Anywho, moving back over to F1. Let's see. Yeah, I just said something about that conspiracy theory. So maybe we see a Ferrari win next year, or maybe it's still going to be Red Bull.
Almost every year that I've been a Ferrari fan, I have said maybe next year we see a Ferrari win, but
I don't know. Red Bull's just so dominant right now. They'd have to really fall off next year.
Yeah. So I guess with that, favorite things of the season, probably Mercedes sucking the first half of the season was pretty good. That was
I just really liked the very out of character decision they made about the side pods and then limiting their ride height adjustment to like 2 inches instead of 4 like everyone else. So they had to deal with terrible porpoising.
Yeah, to where you see like Hamilton crawling out of the car, like that, and that looked really painful. But yeah, it was funny like watching Ferrari and Red Bull start running away from it right at the start, and then you know, Lewis Hamilton is just doing terrible, and then George Russell just always being really consistent and always being in fifth place.
Always.
Yeah, he was definitely Mr. Consistency.
Yeah, shit was like the first half of the season. It was nothing but fifth place for him.
Yeah. I think some notable amazing drives. I mean, can we even say that Max Verstappen had an amazing drive? I mean, he really only fought hard like the first third of the season, and then everything else was pretty easy runnings.
Yeah, it was the way I would. I mean, I'm not going to say that the way I would describe it, but it was on point. It was some news article that I was reading, and they're like, it is the put Max Verstappen any spot on the grid and see if he can win from their game.
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous, like the total dominance. So I'm not even gonna say he had a good drive this year because he was
Good
in
is an
front all the time.
understatement. Oh.
I mean, yeah, everyone else was fighting for everything else. The only times that like we really saw any action out of him was when he and Leclerc were fighting the first couple of races, really close. That was awesome. We got to see someone take it toe to toe with Max, and outsmart him a little bit, and
yeah,
then do nothing with that.
Yeah,
yeah. And then immediately be like, "Oh, we have a lead. Well, we can fuck this up with poor strategy."
But I think that some of the top drivers this year were definitely George Russell. I mean, he got his first dub, he got his first pole, he got he was Mr. Consistency. He fucking killed it. This is gonna sound biased because every time I bring up Charles Leclerc, it always sounds biased. But hear me out. I think Charles Leclerc also gets a notable mention for best driver of the year because he carried the Ferrari team to a second place finish in the constructor championship.
Yeah,
that's
good.
Carlos Sainz, after he got that contract extension, just seemed like just kept falling off the track.
It was the fucking weekend they signed it. He went off the track. Like he just had a rough fucking season.
He was having a rough go of things.
But he kind of picked it up and stayed consistent towards the end.
I was going to say for the Tire Preference podcast, vote for driver of the day. It's always the first driver that crashes or breaks down in the race. I think overall driver of the year, I think for Mr. Consistency was probably Carlos Sainz with some fucking DNFs and shit.
That's what we should have had. We should have had like the Tire Preference podcast 2022 season awards.
I thought about it, but I thought about it today like 3 hours ago, and I was like, that's probably not time.
Maybe we can put it together for the next one.
It got to the point in the season, and I mean, Japan may be a little late to come to this realization, but like when there was that crash in Japan, and it's like a Ferrari went off, and you're like, "Oh Jesus!" And it was like, and it's like Carlos Sainz is off, and you're like, "Oh, all right, well that figures."
Okay. He won like 6 out of the 23 races. I think he had a DNF on.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know the exact number, but
and
it was
staggering. And how many of them were first lapped?
I had a lot, like at least half. A lot of them weren't his fault, but like some of them were definitely driver error.
Yeah, a couple were.
I mean, he had that one in Australia too. He had the one in Australia where he only really went off to avoid colliding into the back of Mick Schumacher.
And didn't he just beach it in that one, right?
Yeah, he just beached it, which is like a roll. When you go to the gravel, it's a roll of the dice. Some drivers can feather foot it, they keep their car rolling. Others can't. If you go in there at a slow enough speed, there's just no way you can carry momentum. If you go there too fast, then you hit the wall.
Or if you go in backwards.
If you're going backwards,
it'll be real hard to get out.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Speaking of Mick Schumacher, also didn't have the best second season in F1.
Yeah, he probably cost Haas a couple $1 million in damages, and
Did you see what
Spoiler
Gunther Steiner said about that?
Get the fuck out of the garage.
Yeah, he was like, we can't. Mick can't teach us anything more. He can't help us figure shit out.
We already know how to rebuild the car in every way possible.
And that sucks to say because I really like Mick. I wanted to see him do well, but
we already know how to
pan out
watch
for him.
We already know how to watch a blonde-haired, blue-eyed young kid spin the car out.
Goatifi.
I was thinking of Mazepin.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Oh, Nikita Mazepin.
Major spin.
Yeah,
he's spinning records
spin.
now in fucking Russia.
Still spinning.
I seen him
this fucking
DJing it up.
We can't say the R word on the podcast because they're assholes.
What's that, Ruski?
No, it's Russia.
Oh god.
They're just putting their soft, small, gangly pubed cock into fucking Ukraine for the last year.
Yeah, which it's real shitty, that whole situation.
It's super shitty.
Not a political podcast, we go into it, but because of political fallout, we did get to see the return of Kevin Magnussen, and Kevin Magnussen fucked some shit up for Haas this year. Pretty much
he did very good. Yeah, he did. He did very well this season. I was proud of Kev.
He was able to take, I don't know how many, I think Haas got 8th place in the constructors or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Haas, yeah.
They beat AlphaTauri and Williams.
What I loved was that it was every team at least scored double digits in points for the constructors, except for Williams. Williams got 8 fucking constructors points.
Yes. 8
Poor
constructors
Williams,
points.
They used to be dominant at one point, weren't they? For a small stretch.
Well,
in the early days of Williams.
It also took 3 drivers to get them those 8 points.
And one of those
got 2 points for them.
Yeah, and one of those drivers has a seat at Red Bull, and the other driver is going back to work at his father's grocery store in Canada.
So one of my other favorite moments.
Wait, weren't we going to roast Latifi when we got back from that quick break?
Well, but I forgot about something we need to mention. We have to talk about it.
Okay.
As far as favorite moments go.
Going. Yeah. All right.
So, George Russell was not the only driver on the grid to get his first dub this season.
First.
Do you guys remember who the other one was?
Carlos Sainz.
Burt Mylander?
Carlos Sainz.
Oh, yeah.
In Britain, Great Britain.
Oh, yeah.
Carlos Sainz. And he finished almost 4 seconds ahead of Perez.
He did a really good job.
Yeah, he did a really great job.
It's a hell of a drive.
Well, yeah. I mean, Verstappen probably would have done better that race if he wasn't as scared of that one turn.
Yeah.
Klopp's corner.
Yep. That fucking corner. That corner that Lewis Hamilton all of a sudden gave a lot of racing room.
Right.
To Leclerc and that. Yeah, I noticed him and Leclerc went wheel to wheel and did just fine.
Yeah, right after. Right after.
Again, you fucking sent him into the wall going really fucking fast. And your first question's not, oh shit, is Max okay? It was,
hey, wave the flag. Hey,
I was ahead. That was my corner. That was my corner. Flag, like, you, A, were not fucking ahead, and B, then you run like you prancing around the fucking track like you won the fucking championship. Oh, it pissed me off.
Wave the flag, Dave. Wave the flag.
I was about to say, if you want to hear...
You just brought up the fucking... Fuck you. You just brought up the fucking race there.
Dave, what is that you have?
The black and white flag.
And what do we have that for?
For when Tyler and Jake ramble on for too long, I pull the flag.
That is the track limits flag because we are off the track limits.
Yeah. For those
it's ironic because that's my sign off thing is keep within track limits, and I regularly do not.
We're all guilty of it.
That's what makes this podcast great. Your guys' inability to stay on track.
I have to put up these, ADD filters throughout my professional life, and sometimes I just get to tear the walls down, and that's what you guys get. So
yeah. I'm tearing the walls down so Jake's ADD-addled brain can have a conversation. We can talk about Formula One for an hour.
It needs to breathe. It's like taking the corset off of my brain.
Your brain can go, let's talk about Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz drives for Ferrari. Ferraris are red. I like the color red. Chevelle had a song called Seeing Red.
When Bulls see red, they run through China shops.
Bulls, the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan was really good at dunking. Michael Jordan was in the Space Jam movie. So I like space, funny. And I like jam.
The difference between jelly and jam is. I'll let you guys figure that out. Google it.
Yeah. If the webpage comes up from Reddit/dark jokes, you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Drivers. What about them?
Drivers.
Well, some did really well this year.
Like Max Verstappen.
Yeah, he did really well. Others did not.
Like Nicholas Latifi.
And Lance Stroll, who came in 15th, but I mean, come on.
That guy, the way he defends people passing him is awful. Push them off track.
I don't think that he knows how to use his mirrors.
No, I don't think so either. I think he's just like, I'm going to get out of the way of them so they can go around me on the inside. He might be fucking too stupid to drive a car. There's a good to fair possibility of that.
I just think that he's also thinking about how wet his upper lip is throughout racing. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I can think about is Tyler, I need you to act this out for me, okay? So can you get a little centered up on the camera so we can see your whole face?
Sure.
All right, now push your bottom jaw out. And now breathe. That's how Stroll drives.
Yeah, just heavy breathing and he knuckle drags everywhere he goes. Yeah. I also like to think maybe he looks in the rearview mirror and he sees his teammates coming and he goes, "No, I'm number one driver. Daddy says." Yeah.
Well, in the simulator I can run into people and it's okay.
Yeah.
Simulators are like real life.
I do way better than you in the simulator. It's like, yeah, because your dad has it set on the fucking easy mode.
It's on easy mode, and you're the only car on the track.
He's got the whole racing line fucking activated.
Yeah, all the assists on. The only thing I race is the semi-transparent car.
I'm really, yeah, he's like Ralphie from The Simpsons. Dad says I'm a driving billboard. But
Dad calls me. Dad calls me his meal ticket. He also says I've been punched out.
Daddy says I'm washed up, but I took a shower today.
My dad took away the German action figure I had, and he gave me a Spaniard one.
I was going to say, I am really excited for, after the first couple races, and, the shine is now off for Fernando Alonso of, the new team. It's like, oh, okay, we'll just see how this works, and then just see, on the radio, all of his usual banter of, oh, this is an F2 car, this sucks. I'm paired with an F3 driver, I really hate it here, and yada, yada, yada.
Blah blah blah. Did you see what Ocon said about Fernando Alonso?
Jesus, do you have the quote?
I can find it real quick.
Yeah, it was I get again, Esteban Ocon did not accidentally get into F1. I very much think that he earned his spot there. But he earned a spot there and he came back and his teammate is a 2-time world champion.
Right.
And arguably a better driver. And then what he just said about him was so dickheadish.
Searching still. I was kind of hoping you were going to be talking longer.
Oh yeah, so I am really excited to see like next year, because they have like it's Esteban Ocon. He's just hardened French asshole, and he's just a dickhead. And then Pierre Gasly's just like this new guy showing up like, "Hi guys, how are you?" And then Esteban Ocon's like, "Go fuck yourself." He's like, "Okay."
Right.
Well, I was muted.
Oh, Dave.
I had a good one. Anyway.
So
that'll be an interesting combo to see.
Yeah, I can't find oh, here it is. So Ocon, when they were discussing like team dynamics and shit, said or about Alonso leaving and going to Aston Martin. He says it's good that he's going to Aston Martin and that we're going our own way. Honestly, the work was 98% on my back and 2% on his. I was overworked. I did all the development on the simulator, the marketing trips, and then that's where it ends. So he forgot "and" in there, but that's like a French thing. I don't know.
So he did all the simulator work and shit?
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't know. Fernando's also, in his early 40s and maybe just doesn't want to play video games.
Yeah. I don't understand this fucking video game system. Not that he's seen it.
Well, he's probably looking at it and being like, why wouldn't I just drive the car on the track? It's here. It exists. Why do I need to drive it on the game?
Yeah. So, I can practice driving around the whatever fucking Suzuka in Japan, like where I've raced a bunch of fucking times before.
Right.
He's Fernando Alonso. He's a two-time world champion.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Fernando, why don't you ever use the simulators? 2 reasons: 2005, 2006, or whatever fucking years he won the championships.
Fernando Alonso does not play the video games.
Yeah. Fernando Alonso has a siesta and a wine, and then he drives the car. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I love his radio outbursts. The last one really good one was like in potential for a really good one when Lance Stroll thought the way to keep Fernando Alonso behind him was to fucking crash into him.
And almost sent him airborne and over.
Yeah, and it just crashed him out of the race, and then Fernando Alonso went around and fuck, I wanted to hear what Fernando Alonso really wanted to say over the radio, but he held it back because that's his teammate next year.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure he had some things in his head that just wanted to come screaming out, but
like I said, halfway through the season, I don't know, what's his contract over there, 2 years or something like that?
Or up, you know what? Yeah. I'm sure he said some shit. He just didn't hit the little button.
Yeah, didn't hit the radio button.
They probably were like, I can't put that on TV.
Yeah. Boop, 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 boop. They're like, I don't know what this word means, but in this context, I'm sure it's bad.
Mm-hmm. Boop, boop, maple syrup eating mother. Boop, boop. Yeah.
Literal translation
is
the soup that secretes out of a frog's soft penis.
Yeah, just
God damn it, I think Dave didn't get any of that.
I did.
Oh, okay. You froze for a second.
I froze.
Crofty and Brundle are just like
doing this shit, then something's wrong.
We don't normally do this, but we're gonna go to commercial break.
And now word from our sponsors.
Yeah. We're having technical difficulties and it cuts that black and white screen like boo, boo, doo, 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 doo.
We already did that though in an episode, don't you remember?
Yeah, I remember that. I'm saying that like the broadcast went to it when they were playing with Fernando.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
Lance Stroll
does anyone have a Spanish to English dictionary?
Oh man, if we could set up some kind of like
So help me God, Fernando.
That'd be great.
You are lucky I do not speak Spanish. Otherwise, you would probably be fired for saying something bad about my boy. That's my daddy.
The evil, he's like Palpatine. That's what Lawrence Stroll's kind of like.
In case you guys
Somebody's
haven't
like,
wondered, we are huge fans of the Stroll family here at the Tire Preference Podcast.
They're not. Their name's not even Stroll. It's something else.
Yeah, it's Stromboli.
Yeah, it's Strigol.
What also sucks is like I don't want Lance Stroll driving an F1 because I'm sure there is more talent out there that would be more exciting to drive. But as long as his dad owns the team that they're going to be, he's going to be in F1.
Oh,
so it's like you're not just rooting for him to lose his contract, you're rooting for an entire team to fail in order to not have this fucking bird on the grid anymore.
His name is Strollovich.
Oh yeah. So yeah, and then so they'll fail, and then that might be Andretti's end, but then Andretti's probably sitting there going like his nightmare scenario would be like, okay, like you can buy the Aston Martin F1 team, and Lawrence Stroll's like, I'll sell it to you for real cheap, but my son's the team principal. It's like, fuck.
Yep. So Lance Stroll's kind of a little bitch. He's Eastern Canadian, so let's just say
I would love to get big enough to where we could interview him.
I'm sure he would be
Lance.
more than willing to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's keep this pretty professional.
Hey, you teen ass eating motherfucker, do better.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and
let that blue drinking ass motherfucker. Yeah.
Let me put on my official news readcaster's voice for interviewing. Lance Stroll. Are you more of a you like the Labatt Blue, or are you more of a Molson's kind of a guy there? Because that's going to tell us a lot about you.
He's Molson's guy. True.
No.
Oh yeah. A Labatt Blue fan wouldn't do that. Wouldn't be that.
But I think Labatt Blue's a little easier to find.
Yeah, but they're a rich family. They can buy whatever they want.
Well, they don't buy this stuff. They send their house folks out to go buy the stuff.
Yeah, their house assistants go out and buy it, and that's keeping the PC.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Lance Stroll, he'll show up, in his Bentley or his Aston Martin. And meanwhile, the house folks there, they gotta pedal the 13 miles to town, on 2 flat tires. Well, they're not flat; they're low tires on the bicycle.
Yeah, they're low tires. They're not flat.
Low tires.
Bike tires never really technically get flat.
Right.
I want to be technical about it. They just get real thin.
Mm. Like a rubber band almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which
yeah. Rubber bands are made out of rubber, which breaks, and that's where Lance Stroll came from. I mean, just look at him.
It's a piece of broken rubber there.
You look at his face and it just has accident written all over it.
It does.
Yeah. Like, Dad spent time in the penalty box for that one.
Yeah. Couldn't grow a mustache, though, to save his life.
Yeah. God, no.
Couldn't
too much snot
grow a
hanging
mustache
around
and
right.
You couldn't slap skill on that boy if you wanted to.
No, he's got a great head of hair there. Eyebrows like shoe polish, but no hair. No, which is interesting because his mom's Bulgarian, and we all know the Bulgarian women are famous for their hair. I'm just saying, she taught her husband how to shave.
Yeah,
Lawrence wasn't doing a great job.
We're not saying anything bad about them. We're just calling this
not at all. Yeah, they're good
we're
people.
Just calling a hockey.
Wholesome people.
We're just calling a hockey stick here. That's what we're doing.
That's what we're saying. Just the women kind of look like a yak.
You know, the older women, when their hair gets white, they kind of look like the abominable snowman.
Oh yeah, sure.
Where that comes from.
The younger broads are way better. You know.
That's where their version of Bigfoot comes from. It's all the skiers.
Yeah, I need to make
skiers up in the mountains.
A black flag next, I guess.
You could actually age a Bulgarian gal by the amount of hair she's got.
Jesus Christ.
And we're not talking about measuring the hair off her head, though.
No, it's straight off her upper lip.
God, I hope they do a race there.
It's gonna be one hell of a race. So Lance, tell me, does your mom have unsightly coarse underarm hair?
It hardened me into the man that I am today.
I know. I have thick skin because it's callous.
Not because of my mom, but because of the terrible things my dad calls me, like accident and oops.
I hate the day you fell out of the Bulgarian footstool.
He calls my F1 career a money pit.
Oh, it is too.
Well, you know, fun fact, gents, did you know that there's not one but two Canadian drivers on the grid to this? Well, last year
was
too. Good old Goatifi.
Good old Goatifi.
What's your favorite Goatifi moment of this year?
2021's
this year,
Abu Dhabi into the wall. Oh, my favorite this year.
This year.
I think the best one was him not realizing what the track was, and when he made the wrong turn, went down like a dead end.
And then he blamed it
on the car.
So Nicholas Latifi,
the Goatifi.
Nicholas Latifi will be leaving F1 this year, taking with him a piece of his car from his highest points finish. I think it was a piece that actually fell off the car during that race, which is fitting. And the only other thing he'll be taking is his
signed by Nick DeVries.
Oh yeah. The only other thing he'll be taking is his lifetime membership, or no, his lifetime supply of Red Bull, which he got last year.
Yeah, no shit.
For real?
I think it was a joke.
It was a joke, but yeah, after that happened, Christian Horner at the end of the race was like, he gets a lifetime supplier of Red Bull. Yeah, I'd say like him going off the track was a pretty good, pretty solid one. Or the race he didn't compete in and his team scored points. That was pretty good too.
Or when he smoked that fucking gopher.
Man, he killed the gopher, Gary the gopher.
He smoked the gopher, and then was it this year that I think it was this year? Max Verstappen clipped the dove in Monaco.
And exploded.
Yeah, so it's like it's a still frame. This cameraman got it, and it's the ass end of the Red Bull car, and there's just fucking dove feathers all around it.
Oh, I remember seeing that now.
Eat your heart out, Randy Johnson.
Right.
Yeah, so no shit.
Nicholas Latifi finished 20th place, kind of like where we're used to seeing him.
Wait, hold on. I have another favorite moment from the year. When in the driver standings, he was in 21st place.
Yeah, yes. He was in 21st.
That was a good
for a brief period of time. Nick DeVries he is in 21st place. He got his 2 points for Williams, helping them to their 6 points, and that's the only reason Latifi's not in last place.
Yep,
because they had to add 2 numbers behind him
because of people that stood in this year,
right? Like
one of which the Hulk is back. Fuck, they didn't even let Mick Schumacher's car cool down.
No, they didn't.
They were ripping fucking Schumacher stickers off of it and getting a seat in there that fit Hulkenberg's ass.
Right.
I felt like they really just kicked him to the curb quick, man. They're
That's
just like, all right,
for another
you're out.
Sherman.
See ya.
That's why they told him not to do donuts. They're just like, hey, don't do donuts. You're fucking up Nico's car.
Well, did you see Alonso? He got his shit and went straight to the fucking Aston Martin hospitality area.
Really?
Yeah, right after the race. Got all his shit together and went straight over there.
He did not seem like a very happy camper over at Alpine the last 2 years.
No.
Nah.
Well, how could you?
Yeah, it was just like
the fucking boy child, the Bulgarian brat.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, now that's who he's got to deal with now. But before that, it was fucking shitty engines and Esteban. I do all the work. Ocon.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's dirty with his teammates on the track, man.
Yeah.
I think like Ocon was also like having like a bit of an inferiority complex. Like he just wanted to. He wasn't going to sit back and he just because I feel like he's been done a little bit dirty in his F1 career, and sometimes people will be like, "Look, you ain't racing Verstappen, all right?
Ain't a word.
Ain't racing Verstappen. You're racing this guy, and then Verstappen comes up to pass him for whatever reason, and he won't let him through because Ocon is only racing against whoever's behind him."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He would probably stop someone from lapping them. It's like I'm on the first lap.
Yeah, or like lapping him a second, getting the blue flags. No, I can kind of understand where he's coming from, where it's like, okay, if Max wants to pass me, Max has to earn it, or whoever has to earn it. But at the same time, like, defend yourself. But if you know it's not your fight, it's not your fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get out the fuck away.
Just fuck off out of the way.
Just get the fuck out of the way.
Fuck right off.
Yeah. But I bet Sergio Perez, who used to be Ocon's teammate years ago, is pretty excited to be in a car that puts him X amount of places in front of him, so he's got a buffer.
Right. Yeah, now we have two Frenchmen on a French team.
And
I bet you they're creaming their pants over that one.
No, they're gonna crumb in their pants.
Creme fraiche their pants.
Creme fraiche. Fraiche crumb.
Yeah.
Wait for the crumb.
We are so excited. That's not a French
That's
accent.
German. Yeah, what are you so excited about?
We're loosey-goosey with the accents here on the Tire Presence podcast.
It's been a long I was trying to do a Canadian one earlier, and I was somewhere between a longshoreman and a guy from Wisconsin. So
I was about to say, it was morphing between Northman and
it was
like Jersey boy.
Yeah, it was
awful. So I tried to mask it with the heavy jokes.
Which, yeah, we did.
Poor bastards.
Ooh, how you feeling there, buddy?
I
think I heard a ball just drop.
Yeah, felt like it. Like I've had shit in my throat, I guess. But we're all fucked up on this podcast.
It's true, we are.
So let's see, where were we?
Let's talk about the rookie of the year.
Yeah, that was incredible. Out of all the rookies that competed this year, Zhou Guanyu really stood out. He did the best. He scored points in
his very first race.
And he had the gnarliest crash of the year.
Yes, he did. The gnarliest crash of the year. Shit. That one had me scared because they wouldn't show it.
Right. Yeah. Which is something they do now, which is infuriating.
It's also
infuriating. Took so long for them to show anything too.
If his car caught fire like
he would have been done.
Oh yeah.
And maybe some of the people in the stands if they didn't get the fuck out of there quick enough.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, well, you got a car that's full of fuel opening lap.
Do you see some of those videos from the stands of the car coming into the fence? Fuck me, that's scary.
Fuck yeah, you're like, oh shit, he's crashing. Oh, he's tumbling. Fuck.
Yeah, it's too late by then.
The biggest fail about that whole wreck, though, and the funniest thing about the wreck, and it is funny, even though that wreck was terrifying, was the fucking asshole protesters that were on the other side of the track.
Yeah,
that just saw the green light and
yeah.
then they ran on the track and their protest got interrupted because Zhao's crash was so fantastic.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, fuck, if those protesters are lucky, because it's not like, oh, we blocked this freeway and everyone came to a stop and it was amazing. It's a straightaway on a fucking racetrack. Like, you're toast.
And they don't see you like you think they might see you. You're a little dot and all of a sudden you're splatter.
Then let's just talk about what happened, like when we talked about that wreck in South Africa.
Oh man, that's brutal.
Oh yeah.
The 40-pound extinguisher got launched so hard after hitting someone's head, not the car, his head, that it went over the grandstands and hit a car with such force that the door was jammed shut. That's a 40-pound extinguisher. What the hell do you think it's going to do to a human body?
Yeah, it's gonna be. Was it the same wreck where like the person got fucking pinwheeled when they were running across the track?
That's what's gonna happen. I guess we already know what'll happen because we've seen it before.
That could have been
the centrifugal force ripped his pants off, and that was in the 80s. They weren't wearing loose pants.
Yeah, like it didn't rip his head off and like limbs.
Right.
Well, that could have been fucking grotesque.
Although I did see one protest. I don't remember what year it was, but it was in I think
I sent you that video earlier.
You might have. And it's this guy who's running on the track and they're like the cars are passing him. But the best part is he's wearing like a kilt or something. And when they drag him,
kind of Scotsman or something. Yeah.
They dragged him off and like they drag him by his feet so the kilt gets hiked up and like over by. He's wearing a green thong.
Yeah, he was holding a sign too. Like I don't know what he was protesting, but he's like running down the straightaway with a sign. But it's like the car's zipping by, you're not gonna be able to fucking read it.
No.
Probably
sometimes those people just need to get taken out of the gene pool. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
Yeah, like I'm all down for people protesting, and like there's a lot of reasons people should be out protesting, and I think you have the right to do it, and I think it's amazing. And like if you wanted to protest at the front gate, complain about the carbon footprint of Formula One, that's fine.
Yeah.
But two things. A, do it at the front gate and not on the fucking track.
It's dangerous for a lot of people.
Very dangerous.
100%.
And then above that is the let people enjoy things.
Yeah, let people enjoy things. Also, like if you want to get media time for your protest thing, show some titty. Show some dick. They're gonna have a lot more airtime for tits and dicks before they will someone who's on the fucking track because a lot of people didn't even know the protesters were there because they were talking about the fucking
thing. They didn't show them.
Yeah,
and all they did was say a couple things and that was about it.
Again, it was such a bad idea, but they chose like the worst timing for that because they're like, all the media is paying attention not to you guys because who gives a shit? You're sitting on now a dead racetrack. But there might be somebody dead on the other side of the track.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you were protesting your cause and then you became a meat crayon on a racetrack, it probably would have been talked about also.
It definitely would have been talked about. But
if it believes it reads.
Yeah. No shit.
Yeah, you just become a stain on the fucking tarmac.
Yeah, you're just you are now a breaking point on the side of the racetrack.
It would probably be Lance Stroll to hit you too.
After fucking 16 cars go whizzing by, then Lance Stroll's the other one that's like, they're in my way.
Man, can you imagine like if that scene was animated with people who did Metalocalypse and like they get hit by the car and just like from the top jaw up landed like where the camera is for the point of view shot and like it was just some torso there with the tongue going
people in the crowd are getting fucking hurt and killed and shit. Someone gets
Death Clock fucking concerts are the best, man. They're safe.
Fuck yeah.
Safest concert you'll have to sign in a waiver for.
Yep.
Well, we can't talk about that wreck without talking about people just being good guys and doing good things, even if it costs you a race, which it shouldn't have, but it did.
And who did it cost the race of that time? Who was the first person to pull over and make sure Zhao Guanyu was okay?
To stop and get out of their car and go make sure he was okay.
Mr. Consistency himself.
G. Russ.
George Russell.
George Russell.
At that race, he saw what happened because he did not qualify very well.
So and also it was his wheel that Guan Yu's wheel hit that flipped him. So I think he might have felt a little responsible. Maybe a little guilt or something. I don't know.
So yeah,
either way, he was obliged to stop.
Well, yeah, he wasn't. He didn't have to. He just did it.
Well, not obliged.
That's what you do.
In his mind, he stopped.
Senna did the same thing a couple times.
Yeah. But because he got out of his car on the raceway or something like that, they just determined that, or no, they put his car on the fucking tow truck. That's what it was.
Yeah, they put it on the flatbed. And
so then
unless you're across the pond, then it was the lorry.
And while he was while they're all in the pit under red flag conditions, he's running around trying to plead his case, like, get my fucking car off of the tow truck. It still runs.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the car.
Run this race, yeah.
So what was the verdict on that? Like, he got out of his car and went off, so they deemed it like his race is done.
There's a rule that says because they can't have drivers getting in and out of their car all willy-nilly during a race. So
it should be like a Good Samaritan rule to that, like a clause to that rule.
Sure. But this one particular case notwithstanding, if it were to happen later in the race and maybe there were some cars going full tilt bug before they realized what was going on, they can't have another driver running around on track and getting smoked.
That makes sense.
This was a special case because it was the first lap of the first, whatever the fuck.
Red flagged immediately, everybody straight to the pits.
Yeah. Yeah, that race itself had a really high attrition rate. Only 14 cars finished.
Yeah, I do remember that. Like one big wreck, and then all of a sudden it just like they started dropping like flies.
Yeah. Albon was the first official out, and then Zhao, then Russell, then Bottas, and Gasly, then Ocon. And a lot of those guys were all because there were two wrecks that happened at the exact same time.
Really? Yeah, what was it? Stroll fucking went into somebody, I thought, like trying to avoid, but also
Albon went into someone unrelated to Zhao's crash.
Yeah, wasn't it like later in the first lap too?
No, it was. I think it was before the first turn because someone went into.
No, it was on that first straight, and whatever happened to Albon, it spun him into the wall, and actually, his wreck had more G-force on his body than Guan Yu's.
Yeah, because
Guan Yu just went to the medic, and Albon had to go to hospital.
Yeah,
I hear, like I'm in England, had to go to hospital, had to go to the hospital since I'm here in the U.S.
And then he had to miss the next race too because he had it was complications with some surgery he had to get, right?
No, he had appendicitis, but I don't think that was the next race.
Oh yeah, okay, that was not unrelated then. Yeah. But yeah, so and that's now that I think about it, in that race, George Russell had gotten out of his car and had undone the seatbelts, and then a handful of races later, Yuki Tsunoda kind of did that, but Yuki Tsunoda was able to finish the race. He just had to come back around and get his seatbelt retightened.
Right.
And then what race was that?
I still think that was top Red Bull execs yelling down to AlphaTauri saying, hey, make Yuki come back in. And he held up somebody. He did something with that. It ended up costing somebody time or position.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you are right about that. There were definitely I'm going to look through my notes and find out what race that was. But I think the big difference between that is two things. One, he didn't get out of the car. And two, he didn't have his car put on the lorry.
The lorry.
That's true. Yeah, because he came back in.
Yeah, he had a diff issue.
And then he went back out and he was still complaining about it. And then he ended up coming in a lap later or some shit like that.
Something like that.
Well, that, and also in one of his radio messages, he was like, I have a problem with this. And we're like, no, you have a problem with this.
That's right. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
What fucking race was that?
Like
people are
following the script here.
I'm sure people are like screaming at us right now that are listening to this. They're probably not, but I like to think that they are.
It was a wet race. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm flipping through my notes. Don't mind me.
We don't have to get into it too big. I was just
Well, now it's bothering me. I want to know.
Ranch. You drinking a big bottle of ranch there, Tyler?
Mm-hmm. That's Ranch Records.
Oh, thought you were from the Midwest there for a second.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell
yeah.
Fucking people out here putting ranch in their camelbacks.
Ugh. I believe it.
Oh, it was the Dutch GP. So lap 44, he goes off of the track and says, "My tires aren't fitted." And that was really weird. That's all I wrote down. But there was definitely something else where it was like, they're like, no, this happened. And then he was like half unbuckled, half not.
Yeah, so that's why
I think he was gonna.
It was sus from the start.
Yeah, that was weird.
I wrote all my notes.
I'm 40. I'm using kid lingo. It was sus.
I know. I hate that. I wrote down on my notes for that GP. I hate the fact that Verstappen won this whole race.
Oh, was Jake having some feelings?
No, I think at that point it made it worse because there was still a ton of orange flares everywhere. Or orange smoke. You know, it was getting ridiculous.
Yeah. And it was a little frustrating too because of all that shit that happened with Tsunoda, Sainz pit because there was a caution. So Sainz pit, and then he got unsafe release and got a 5-second penalty for that. It's not Tsunoda's fault that happened, but it did happen as a result. You could argue that he would not have boxed if he didn't give a yellow flag.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably just they got a caution, so he's going in and not, took it, but then got kind of fucked by it.
So on one other thing about Latifi, and well, actually, we'll get to it when we talk about De Vries.
Okay. Well, let's hit De Vries.
Let's hit De Vries. De Vries, he came out. So, I gotta find out what the fuck that character's name is because I keep bringing him up. He's a goofy motherfucker. I don't know why, but just like looking at him, he just looks goofy, and
he looks like a puppet.
He does. He doesn't look like a normal human. I don't know why.
No, I know character you're talking about from
Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
The plane.
The car.
The race.
You know my favorite thing was Mercedes put him on a dolly and delivered him to AlphaTauri. After the race.
That was great.
He looked like he fit on that thing too. It's like, dude, he's a doll. He doesn't look like a person.
You want to know my favorite thing about Nick De Vries is?
What?
So he had to drive for Alex Albon in Monza.
Wait, no. Yeah, sorry, go on.
And in that race,
De
Vries had more top 10 laps than Latifi had all year.
No, it was his whole career because I remember Brundle had said that he was just like, Nick De Vries has raced more laps in the top 10 than Nicholas Latifi has his whole career. And I think I had mentioned something early in the podcast about him, like, no, that's what made it. Let's see, what did I say? It was something about Nicholas Latifi not even being there and they scored points. I was wrong. Nicholas Latifi fucking was there and they scored points. Which has got to be so much worse. Well, the only thing that would have made it worse is if Latifi got fucking lapped by him. And they're just like, okay.
Oh, I know.
Oh, who is it, Hamilton? No, it's your teammate.
So, I know we've been talking about our favorite moments of this last season and all that, but I think we should probably pop it into some news because we've had some fairly big news stories pop in this
we really have
couple days actually.
Let's start with the biggest news of all. This is huge. This is going to shake up the F1 grid and teams. like a certain specific team with like everything that's going to be changing because of this. It's really big news. And it just came out the other day that Daniel Ricciardo is returning to Red Bull as a third driver.
Prodigal son has returned.
Woo, yep. Clap for that. But it was funny because he left Red Bull, I think it was at the end of 2018, left Red Bull because he didn't want to be the number 2 driver, and now he's back as the number 3 driver.
I was gonna say, have you seen that meme that was like left to not be the second driver, returning to be the third driver? It was kind of like, oh, but at the same time, it's good. I like to see it. It maybe keep Perez on his toes. But
oh yeah,
I like to see that at least Danny Rick will still be on the scene.
Yeah, and he'll be there at some races. He'll be a backup driver if something were to happen with Max or Sergio Perez.
Kind of like Hulkenberg was.
Yeah, kind of like Hulkenberg was.
And he's doing their like promo shit and stuff too, isn't he?
Yeah, that was the other thing. He's going to do he's going to run simulator stuff, and then he's going to do all the like promo shit, because Red Bull does all kinds of fucking
they do
F1 promo shit, and
who better?
Such a exactly than someone like a very popular, charismatic, really like character in F1 that excuse me, a lot of people really like.
Well, yeah, now it's just not going to be a helmet driving in that car and stuff. You're going to see a face, because he's going to pop his face out, and they're going to interview him, and he's going to have, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Red Bull does great promo already. Add Danny Rick to the mix. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
You could argue that Danny Rick got the better end of the deal, because he gets to do all the fun shit with the cool cars and not the 6-cylinder ones.
Yeah. So that's cool. So that was announced probably sometime late last week. I think it was a couple days after the season had ended. But
as of this podcast, it was a few days ago.
Yeah. The really, really big news though was I think it came out the other day, yesterday or something like that. Matteo Benito, the team principal for Ferrari, I'm sure was voluntold to resign, and so he resigned. And he had been with the team, so team principal's out, and he had been with the team starting as an engineer since 1995.
I've got a couple of comments about this one. Like, I don't know if it was, is that the replacement we needed, or was it the strategy team that needed a little shaken up?
Well, I think it could have been both, because, I mean, at the end of the day, the boss is the boss.
That is true. Yeah. Buck stops at him.
You can't be a boss in any part of your life, whether you're managing a meat department or if you're running an F1 team, and blame all your shortcomings on your team, because ultimately you should have been there to protect that.
Yeah. Well, and especially so many times during the season, he said, "Oh, we have no need to change anything." It's like, no, there's a need to change something.
Yep, there is a need to change something.
And whatever he was doing, obviously the bigwigs didn't like. I know that they had struggled with pit strategy badly for most of the season, and then their sort of fix to it was asking the drivers what they wanted. And I thought that was a cool move, but I also you leave a lot out there to your competitors if over the radio you're saying, "Hey, how are your tires doing? Do you want these tires or those tires?"
My God, and stop planning. Stop having 26 fucking plans. Plan X, we're doing plan W.
No.
It's like, Jesus Christ, man. And I remember when we were talking about it early in the season, we said, because Ferrari was really stiff-arming the drivers, and we said, well, you're not a driver. You need to have them make the call and all that stuff. And it's almost like Ferrari heard everyone saying that, but they went too far with it, almost being like sarcastic even. Like, well, what does the driver want to do? And it's like, the driver knows how the car feels. And you have all the fucking data. You have the 26 whatever the fuck sensors that read the car out. You know what's going on. If your sensors are telling you that the car's tires are going to fail in 6 laps or whatever, but the driver who drives on these tires every fucking day of his life says, I think I can hold on for 8, then you need to do 7. Find a compromise, but don't. It's not one or the other. It needs to be a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, it seems like they just kind of like bent over immediately instead of like working through it and kind of doing it slowly and finding that happy middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately dropped trowel and bent over and said, "Drivers, tell us what you want."
And again, they have the 26 sensors in the car, and they have an entire team of engineers both at the track and excuse me, back at the headquarters, watching all this information, watching timing, watching everyone else and how they're doing, like the car that's right behind him
in real time.
In real time. Okay, there is a big enough gap right now we could pit, but we won't. And then, okay, well, we're gonna pit right now because I think maybe you might be able to crawl back. We might be able to make this work.
Yeah, we think we're you kept a 2-second gap like the entire race. We think you can outrun everyone else.
We haven't tried this yet. Haven't tried this yet this season, but we're gonna double stack you guys right now. And this will work. Oh wait, just kidding. No, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, box. That's really what fucked Leclerc out of doing well in Monaco. Because they were like, box, and then he's turning into the thing like, don't box. And he's like, you just fucking told me to box, man.
Yeah, and that could have been his chance to winning at home. And that handed it over to Sergio Perez, like real easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sainz won second that race. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ferrari owe Tifosi an explanation or a change or both. And so
that was Benito. What is it?
Matteo Benito.
Something of that nature.
I know it is not right, but my mind keeps saying Mussolini. So I have to catch myself.
The fascist.
Benito Mussolini.
One of the Tifosi wanted was his head on a stake, and so I think he was voluntold to fucking fuck off. I think that's
that meme of the chef loading pasta into the clip of the gun. I imagine Matteo doing that, but the pasta says like pitch strategy, fucking, overriding our drivers.
Pasta la vista.
Pitch strategy, more pitch strategy. Ferrari has 2 good drivers, and they have a very competitive car. But what fucks them over more than anything else is their goddamn pitch strategies. It's like, Jesus Christ. And it's so bad. It's been bad like forever. It got so bad that their pitch strategy was so predictably bad.
Well, they're very timid. They wait. They don't make a move. They don't, or they make a move preemptively based on being scared that something's gonna happen. They just fuck it.
They're always undercutting. There you can tell, like, if we're going to undercut right now, we're going to do this now, or we're going to do this in case there's a safety car. You're right. It is very predictable.
Right. But it was so bad that I remember watching seasons ago, like maybe 3 or 4 seasons ago. And this is like when Hamilton was going for his 6th or his 5th or something like that. Mercedes would radio him and go, we're expecting Ferrari to pit in 3 to 5 laps. That's a small gap. And you know what would happen in 3 to 5 laps? Fucking Ferrari would pit. So they used that to overcut Ferrari every fucking time, and Ferrari couldn't get their goddamn heads wrapped around it.
Yeah. And then you compound that with, again, the fact that they were on the radio going, well, okay, how do the tires feel? They feel good. Okay, well, we're gonna go to B plus or plan A plus 5. You're like, okay, then look what everyone else is doing. They're going soft tires and medium tires, and you guys are on soft tires. So in the opening of the pit window plus 5 laps, you're gonna put medium tires on.
Yeah,
and then everyone knows.
Yeah, so I had like a big end to my rant point I was gonna make, and I promised Dave I wouldn't forget, and I fucking forgot while we were switching over. So
yeah, you're not even the fucking weed head of the group.
No, Jake's got ADD though, so it's like
it's pretty hard. It's not easy having my life. So,
but one last little thing to talk about. This is sort of being talked about in the news a little bit. As of in 2023, we were going to see the return of the Chinese Grand Prix.
Oh yes,
potentially.
Yes.
However, it's becoming, with all their COVID restrictions and lockdown, there's a good fair chance it's going to drop off the calendar again. And I think
not to mention all the protests that are happening across the country.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot to unpack with China.
Bit of COVID.
Yeah. Like, Reddit has had all kinds of videos coming out recently that I've been seeing, and so I can see why there's apprehension about holding a race there. Put it that way.
I'm a little behind on my Chinese current events, but that's another podcast for another day.
Right.
Yeah, China. It's a 3-hour long podcast once a week, and it's called Chinese Current Events. But the Chinese Grand Prix was only, I think, contracted through 2025. So
I was excited to see this one on the calendar this year. I've never seen this race live, and
it's a cool fucking track.
It is a cool track.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go on.
Oh, so that's what I was gonna say. So that one, there's no official word yet, and once we hear about it, then we will let you guys know a few days after it happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll let you know our take on it.
Yeah, if you're looking for breaking F1 news, Google it. If you want our coverage of it, you're in the right spot.
Right, 100%. Get both. Get more sides to one story, so you get the whole picture.
Yeah.
So how you do it is you get it live from some professional people, and then you hear our take on it. And we have the better, more fun take on it.
We have the unfiltered filter
about it. Yeah.
The unfiltered filter.
And maybe they'll pick up a race in Belarus or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Right. Well, speaking of drivers, because we kind of got off of
again.
Maybe.
We kind of got off of the drivers, but there's still one we have not talked about.
Oh, who's that?
Seb Vettel.
Oh,
Vettel.
Seb Vettel.
He's done.
Seb Vettel. He's leaving
out
us.
Of F1.
He's out of F1.
Go tend to his bees and his bikes and his family.
Arguably the saddest part of the whole season.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've grown to really love Seb over the season. Last couple of years. Well, especially last season, I started to like him a lot, and then this season, I really fell in love with the dude. He's awesome.
I'm sad to see him go, but what I could see happen is if a German team's entering F1 here soon, and they want an experienced German driver, come back for 2 seasons.
I don't know. Of all the people I've seen go and come back, it would surprise me if he did come back.
Well, like you said, he even quoted that, like, if he comes back to F1, it means he failed in whatever endeavors he had, or So I think he's got stuff. He's the people say, like, he changed completely once he had kids,
right?
And I can kind of see him just now being a quiet family man, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm sure he'll still use his popularity in Germany to help his cause and such, but
right,
I don't see him being in the limelight anymore unless he fails at that and then comes back to F1. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
He's still only 35.
No, he's
36.
He might be 35.
He's not old.
He's in his mid-30s.
He's young enough to make a return at some point.
But I just don't feel like he's going to do it.
I don't feel he will either.
I don't know. I hope he has a better social media presence than I like what he's posting now. It's okay. It's
except for when he posted the Instagram.
No, it's just his like official Vettel thing, like the people that handle it. Like, he did his own thing that one time to post that heartbreaking video in German and English that made me sad. And
now it's just pictures of him
train wrecked Jake's whole thing. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, sorry. But it's like now it's just pictures of him like, oh, this was my first go-karting race where I was sponsored, and I had a helmet that was 2 colors. And you're like, what kind of motorcycles are you working on?
Right.
How about
Show
that?
me them. Show me your bikes.
Yeah, I want to see that. What kind of fucking lawnmower do you use?
We don't know that they are motorcycles because he did say bike, which is a slang term for a motorcycle. I get, but it's a metal could be a bicicleta.
I'm sure it's both. I bet he's got
could be.
Yeah. What was the bike from Napoleon Dynamite? I bet he's going to be working on one of those.
I mean, the guy's racked up a good chunk of change in his career, so
he's got a bit of an nest egg.
Plenty of time and money to just do whatever the fuck he wants.
Oh, and sponsorship too, and I'm sure like all these super green companies that are coming out nowadays, like solar panel companies, all bicycle companies and shit, are like, oh, Seb Vettel, famous, yes, ride our bikes, please.
Right, it'd be cool to see him come back in like exhibition races or like, those kind of like champions races. Shit like that.
Oh, yeah. Or if he does like
come back in
24 hours Le Mans or something like that. Like one-off races.
Dope. Didn't Hulkenberg just win that recently? Or not too recently? Maybe a few years back. He's a winner of Le Mans.
But if Hulkenberg starts like putting his nose down and winning some fucking races, which probably won't happen at Haas, then when Porsche is ready to come in, they might just take him out from under whatever team he's in and then be like, Porsche, we're coming in here and we're gonna have Nico Hülkenberg.
Yeah. Well, it would be cool to see him get his first podium finally.
Yeah. Still the longest stint in F1 history with no podium.
Yeah. And he had some teams and some cars that could have got podiums too.
Yes, he was in the running to get podiums, and then little tiny things, silly things were fucking him up.
Yeah, it's just you hate to see it. It's like unfortunate. It's like, man, you want to root for the guy to get it, but it's like every little thing just throws him out.
Right. 100%. So, what a year it has been. What a year it has been. So,
it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun to watch.
Especially on the road.
End. Yep.
Oh, it's been challenging. It's been a weird season, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Been a fun year of podcasting, too.
It really has.
Well, I roped that into it too. That's been an interesting endeavor to try to logistically handle all this.
The first rough drafts don't exist of the podcast. They were never published.
Yeah, there's a few. Yeah, and that's before I even went on the road. That was when I was living in my in-laws' basement when we recorded those first few.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
first few practice ones. Yeah. I think we recorded like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, we did a few. I think a couple of them made it to YouTube if you want to go back and watch everybody.
Yeah, I think the first official one was the deep dive into Austin Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was definitely in my in-laws' basement. That's funny. Oh, how we have grown.
Not very much.
Not a lot.
It's still the same podcast.
Right, it's still the same podcast. That's just on, you don't have to watch us now. You can listen to us with your screen closed, which is
and that's very exciting. We're underplaying this. We need to sell it more. We're doing we're raising up in the world. We're an actual legit podcast now on podcast platforms.
We're doing some cool shit.
We're doing some cool shit. And more is on the way. We don't know what it is.
Moving and shaking. Moving and shaking.
Let's stop it. So
well,
with that,
anything else?
Yeah, I think we're gonna close out with that. So that was our, year-end review. We kind of talked about some things that happened. I'm sure that you guys had favorite moments. Roast,
yeah.
You guys, comment. Tell us what your favorite parts were. Tell us what part you liked the most.
And if this is your first season in F1, let us know what you thought.
Yeah,
and most importantly, hit that. Give us those 5 stars.
We need the 5 stars.
Subscribes. All those
comment
things on whatever platforms you listen to podcasts.
It's really just because that's what they look at, is that kind of shit. They don't care what you say in the comment. You can say whatever you want, but they do look at what things have been commented and how many comments and
5 stars. That's the big one.
Yeah, and
that's on Apple. That's the big one. That helps with the rankings, with the algorithms, is those 5 stars.
Yeah, we're not in last place, but we're near the bottom. So
yeah.
Keep us out of Latifi land.
Super grassroots.
Out of 100 podcasts, we're number 101.
But with that,
we'll get there.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say, keep within track limits.
I'm gonna say fuck that, hit the gas, and just fucking pedal the metal the whole time.
Pedal the metal until you hit those breaking points. Make sure you don't slam into a wall. Right. You don't want to be dead meat on tarmac.
Right. You don't want to be a red stain. So I didn't realize we kind of messed up the order. I think we usually do the social media shout out before the sign off. So
we'll
backpedal a little bit.
Either way.
If you want to find us on something you're not currently watching us on or whatever, or you want to tell a friend to go look us up, you can look us up on now all podcasting sites. We have iTunes Music, we got Amazon. I don't think we're on Amazon yet.
Yes, we are on Amazon.
We are on Amazon. We're on Spotify. That's the big one. We're on
Stitcher,
Google Podcasts. YouTube still. YouTube ones come out a little bit later because Dave edits the video a little bit differently for YouTube. So those usually take a little bit longer to come out. But if you want to keep up to date, then check us out on one of the podcast websites. Give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a 5-star review because it helps. And we're going to go ahead and, as payment for doing that, we're going to give you the same great content you come back for every week. So,
yeah.
A lot of cool accents, fun F1 news, and banter. And we do our best. It's good times.
We would be doing this whether there was a microphone in front of us or not. So
honestly, it's just a good way for me to talk F1 with somebody each week.
Yeah, no shit.
This is saving our significant others a lot of heartache, or not heartache, but frustration.
Just
having to sit there and be like,
brain ache.
Brain ache, yeah. Just like, yo, I have to tell you about the race. Please let me tell you about the race. I need somebody to listen to me.
Well, I guess I'm at an unfair advantage where I can actually talk to my wife about that stuff because she watches all that with me. Practice races and qualifying.
Well, must be.
I got lucky.
Nice.
Got a dope ass wife. She's dope.
Look at me.
And on that note.
Yeah. All right, you bastards. Thanks for listening. Tell a friend. Oh, if you want to, see me do social media stuff, which I don't do, you can go to the Red Kennedy 45 on Instagram and the Red Kennedy on Twitter. You can find the podcast at the Tire Preference Pod on all social media sites, or not social media sites, sorry, streaming sites for podcasts. You can find us on YouTube at the Tire Preference Pod. You can find us on Twitter at the Tire Preference Pod. You can find Tyler at
T.K.66 on Instagram.
And then you can also, well, you can find me at the Instagrams at Maximo_Dave, and me and my wife and our journeys at featuring next Friday at the Instagrams there.
And you can find Dave and I playing video games at Schnickelfritz on YouTube.
It's linked.
We need to, it's linked.
I already did it.
Just click the link on the YouTube page. He and I tried to record playing Formula One, and that was a chore.
It was an experiment, and it failed. So we'll have to figure something miserably.
Like the first. So we were playing.
It didn't help. It was wet weather too. I think a couple of those practices were in the wet.
It was So we're doing qualifying. I know this is a video game, but it was still kind of funny. So we were doing qualifying, and I have my race sim. So I was running no ABS, no traction control, manual transmission. All just everything turned off. And it was wet, and we were in the wet, and we went to qualifying, and I went around the track, and I spun out and damaged my wing, so I had to come in, and it took me forever, and I was in the pit forever, and so we went through the first half of Q1, and I had not put a lap time down, and then I went out to put a lap time down, I spun out, and I saw, was it Schumacher coming, but for some reason it didn't click in my brain, and I reversed back onto the track and got fucking T-bone smoked, which caused me to retire from the section. And I had to sit there and watch Dave do Q2 and Q3, and then we got to the race, and I was dead last, which didn't make a fucking bit of difference because I kept spinning out. It was awful. I got a lot of practice.
It was fun, but I had to ditch the footage because it just wasn't enough to really put anything together.
Right.
I guess I could have made some clips, but
we'll figure all that out. But anyway, thanks again for listening to you guys, and we'll catch you next week.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Love you guys.